Some more polling numbers are in.
The Dan Yorke State of Mind program is brought to you in part by Lookout Rhode Island and Takeo Comfort Solutions.
I think we're addicted to numbers. We're addicted to polling numbers in this business. I'm pretty sure you're not. But if you're a political pundit, if you're somebody who really follows the races, and I think all Americans probably should, you're probably interested at least as to what the pace of play is, so to speak. The Boston Globe has performed an important task and invested in Rhode Island polling numbers, and Dan McGowan from the Boston Globe is here to talk to us about it tonight. Great to have you in. Thank you very much for tuning into the show. And my glasses on, there you go. You know, when the glasses go sideways, so does my head would just keep tilting. Look, my head has been tilting, and I think America's head has been tilting over the course of the last week. Before we get into the polling numbers, a headline here from the Wall Street Journal: Cassidy Hutchins stopped America. Now, you know, the tens of millions of people who have either seen this in real time or in highlights and the like, I think, have to be affected by the story that she tells. You know, literally her workplace seconds walk away from the Oval Office, and she's the chief of staff's top aide. And the story she tells, not only about the prep up to January 6th, but on January 6th, being at the Ellipse where the arena was being filled and the president was looking to put everybody and anybody into the arena for showman's sake, despite them maybe having weapons and that kind of a thing, was just incredible. His lack of attention to this in the White House, sitting in the dining room, is horrifying. The perhaps contested story of his comportment in his vehicle going from the rally to the West Wing versus the Capitol. Some sources to national news say the Secret Service might step up and dispute that the president lunged at the steering wheel and one of his Secret Service guys. If you haven't seen the testimony, please find it. Please find it and make a judgment for yourself as to whether or not A, Donald Trump is electable again, or B, jailable. And before I even start, you know, I'm sure Dan's got a take on this. But did you watch the hearing?
I did. It's this one. I'll be honest. I haven't watched all of them. I haven't watched every minute of these hearings. I think, like a lot of Americans, it's not that I'm, you know, apathetic towards it, but personally, my mind is made up. You know, the election was won, and I think Donald Trump acted really inappropriately, and I think it's disqualifying to run again. That said, he's allowed to. This one was particularly compelling, right? I think this is as disturbing a testimony as we've ever seen in Washington when it comes to a president. I mean, you know, I wasn't around for Nixon, but this is as bad as anything Nixon ever did.
It's worse.
It's not even close.
Political,
I think it's,
you know, breaking into an office to be able to obtain, you know, intel.
Right. Damaging info.
Yeah. Damaging info on, you know, in a political squabble is serious business. This is a whole nother story.
Right.
But the threshold of pain / tolerance that America, at least portions of America, have built up for this president, somewhat dims what ought to be America's stand on our heads, screaming bloody murder, no way, no how reaction.
The entire Trump presidency, you know, changed norms and almost numbs you because of how, you know, sort of, you know, right, you've got an unpopular president right now, and he's just doing regular things as the president. But the last president, it felt like almost every day, certainly every month, you know, was doing something that completely was changing norms, and I think it did numb a lot of us, even those who pay really close attention to it. This is, you know, Cassidy Hutchinson's, you know, testimony was as, you know, disturbing as it can be, because, you know, you're looking out there and you're looking at a young woman who, you know, I know the Wall Street Journal headline, you know, Trump loyalist, but this is how many people do you and I both know that have gone to Washington to work for, whether it's in the president's office or working for, a senator or a congressman. You're in your 20s. You're, just trying to kind of learn the ropes of Washington.
Well, she's an advanced case. I mean, she's an achiever. I mean, she was a lead legislative aide for the chief of staff with the Republicans, and then she came in and was minding the door.
Yeah.
And clearly you can see that even the legal counsel and the Secret Service folks are seeming confidants, and it's something. In the meantime, the thing that I'm sure did rock America, without a doubt, is the Roe v. Wade reversal. We have a headline here on that. I think just about everybody in America, unless you're under a rock, knows what happened here. And a 50-year precedent has been reversed, and we have a constitutional crisis of sorts here, where half of the states in America are going to be, doing their own business. And the Supreme Court didn't pay a lot of attention to, although they argued that there's no specific right to abortion in the Constitution, they didn't value the precedent as much as I think they certainly did, and a lot of scholars think they should have done. And some of the loose ends here are, how are states going to deal with this in terms of cross-state travel for a woman who seeks an abortion? Things like whether or not there'll be prosecution for doctors. The South Dakota governor is proffering that she would love to see her state, prosecute doctors.
Right.
Can you mail in a prescription from another state into an illegal state and take it and consume it? Right. The Supreme Court decided that those issues were for the states to decide, but when it comes to interstate commerce or interstate crime, it's a mess.
Oh, it's a complete mess, and you're exactly right. I mean, think about what this means, electorally, right? It becomes this conversation about, Democrats versus Republicans and what, whether or not you support overturning Roe v. Wade or an abortion ban federally. But think about how this goes in the states, because it, Dan, like in some of these states, you're going to have every candidate trying to maneuver one another to say, yeah, I will prosecute doctors. I'll prosecute the parents. I'll prosecute everybody. And, I think until we get more clarity, that's how this is going to go. And then on the other side, in Democratic states, blue states, it's going to be kind of outflanking people to say, we'll fly everybody in for free to have abortions, and it'll be this kind of conversation.
So we're going to talk about this incredible decision by the Supreme Court in the context of what the national response is going to be, because it's going to be a national vote, perhaps, that could change this. It's going to be a headlining issue in every federal race, and because we have a very interesting congressional race, we'll talk about that in the next segment. In the meantime, we've got, Maddie, roll this video, will you? This ridiculousness at the State House with this, at this rally. That's a guy by the name of John Lugo, who is a police officer in Providence, a 3-year veteran who originally was running for lieutenant governor as a Republican, and then days before this mishap says he's going to run for state senate, and he happens to be, this of course is repeat video, the same video being repeated. He lays a couple of 1-2s on a woman who it's yet to be determined or really clearly understood whether he knew who he was hitting. I don't know how long he was at that rally, but this woman, Jennifer Rourke, who's running for, I mean, how does, come on. Right. It's another chapter in my book, Only in Rhode Island, that I continue to draft. He's running for state senate to contest Michael McCaffrey, the majority leader, who 2 days after this decides he's not going to run anyway.
That's right.
Ms. Rourke is a speaker at this rally, and later comes over when there was some contention with some people who were agitators. Lugo is a bystander to the agitator, perhaps in the spirit of the agitators as well. One of the agitators gets hit, and then a little bit of this heck breaks loose. He, I guess, is in front of this woman in another video, and then turns and wheels and hits her. The chief of police in Providence was very aggressive in writing with his charge against him, wants him out.
Right. Not something you see every day from the police chief of Providence.
No, they're usually very careful.
Right.
I mean, Chief Clements, I think, is usually very careful. What's your take? What are you hearing about this thing?
It's, as we're watching that segment there, just the video, you see Mr. Lugo, I believe probably from an appearance here at Channel 12, in a suit, good-looking guy, gets into politics because he, wants to presumably do the right thing and change the course of the state. And then you see the next video of him, swinging at a woman at an abortion rally. I'd love to get inside of his head and understand sort of how do you go from, again, a guy who wants to potentially do the right thing and run for office, and then you get to that. How do you become,
and a sworn police officer.
And a sworn police officer. I mean,
whose comportment ought to be a little bit more high level than that which we see here.
And even if you're there as a private citizen, just like you and I, as private citizens, are still journalists. More so for him. You're a Providence police officer. You can't take a swing at a woman. It's outrageous. Chief Clements is clearly right.
Well, you can't take a swing at anybody. Right. In this day and age, there might be an equal rights argument that the woman deserves no less empathy or sympathy. Sorry, you and I are old school, and I believe she does. But that she and he were running for the same seat makes the viral nature of this thing explode all across the world. Yes. I still don't. His lawyer contends that he did not know who she was. She says she had never seen him or met him. So who knows? But can you imagine how the galaxy lined up for that one? I mean, it's just...
and meanwhile, Michael McCaffrey's home probably on a Friday night.
Going, you know what? I don't need this anymore. You know what? I'm out. And I had a lengthy interview with him.
It was a good interview. It was worth listening to.
A couple of days ago. He says family first. Yeah. All right, when we come back, there are plenty of people who still want to be in, running for Congress, governor, those small things. We'll talk about it next. Stay with us. Yes, and so the Boston Globe, which has a significant presence now in Rhode Island via Mr. McGowan and his team's work. A few years ago, they jumped into the online business here, and now the Globe spends a significant amount of resource in reporting and now in polling, which is, congratulations to the Globe, because we need numbers.
Yeah, thank you. This is something I've been pushing for because I thought, especially this year, if you think about it, Channel 12 is the only place that usually you get some polling from, and I think I obviously worked here for years, but Joe Fleming, who does the great job here at Channel 12, would say more polling is better, right? You always want to check your numbers.
And he would also say it's just a snapshot in time. Let's roll Ted Nesi's reporting on Dan's organization's polling.
Democrats have won every election for U.S. House in Rhode Island since 1992, but the new poll suggests this could be the year Republicans break that streak. Ever since Rhode Island Congressman Jim Langevin made the surprise announcement he would retire rather than seek re-election, Democrats have been nervous they could lose his seat this fall. A new poll from the Boston Globe and Suffolk University shows why. The survey of 423 likely voters in the 2nd Congressional District finds Republican and former Cranston Mayor Alan Fung on top with 45%, ahead of Democrat and General Treasurer Seth Magaziner at 39%. 17% of voters are undecided in a Fung-Magaziner matchup.
This shows it's a competitive race at this point.
12 News political analyst Joe Fleming says he expects Fung to focus his message on the economy and inflation, while Democrats play up the Supreme Court's decision to eliminate the constitutional right to abortion.
Alan Fung right now is in a nice position. It's going to help him raise money. There's no question he'll use this for fundraising. He has to now capitalize on that, because the Democrats are going to come after him with everything once this campaign starts.
Before Magaziner can face Fung, he needs to defeat 5 challengers for the Democratic nomination. The Globe Suffolk poll surveyed 172 likely Democratic primary voters in the 2nd District. Magaziner was well ahead at 30%. Joy Fox and David Siegel trailed behind at 8% each, while 43% of primary voters were undecided. 3 other candidates were in single digits. Fleming says the dynamic in the primary hasn't changed since our 12 News Roger Williams University poll in early May.
They were all in single digits. He's up in the low 30s. 22 points, a lot of points to make up. You have to come up with an issue that can motivate the voters and excite the voters to vote for you. So far, none of these other candidates have done that.
One thing to keep in mind, early voting for the primary starts on August 24th, so candidates have less than 2 months to get their message out before the first ballots are cast. Ted Nesi, 12 News.
The congressional race is a highlight here. Speaking of snapshot in time, one of the things that's really important to point out about this data, which is impressive for Alan Fung, no doubt, is that it was pre-Supreme Court.
Right.
And this Roe v. Wade thing is going to have a real impact. I had all the candidates, less him, on the air to react to that on the radio last week.
Did he say no?
He said no. He offered us one of these staid comments that Rhode Island's good. I paraphrase. Rhode Island is, it's got its, protection against Roe v. Wade, and I'm not running to change abortion law. Dude, you're going to have to tell everybody what you will do as a congressman on a vote to codify Roe v. Wade on a legislative basis, meaning Congress writing a law, and if you can't spit out specifically what you want to do, they will eat him for lunch. Yeah,
given that he now faces no serious, credible Republican primary, if he wasn't cutting an ad this week to look into the eyes of Rhode Island voters and say, I would never vote to ban abortions on a federal level, I mean it's a complete malfeasance on that campaign, malpractice, excuse me. I don't understand how he would
He can't win if he doesn't do that.
Can't win.
He can't win if he doesn't do that.
I would agree.
Let me qualify. He can't win if he's not emphatic and clear about his position. There might be some wiggle room in a purplish district to say, well, at least he's got a take.
Yeah.
But you can't run from this conversation. Now, too bad the Supreme Court did what it did. You got to make a call here.
Yeah. I mean, look, what he would point to right now in our poll, aside from the 45-39 against Seth Magaziner, he's looking really good among independents, 58-20. Here's the thing. Let's pretend it stays exactly at that. 58-42, if Seth Magaziner were to get there, that puts Seth Magaziner right there in play, given the amount of Democrats that traditionally would turn out in a general election.
You're talking about Seth Magaziner. As we speak, it's 1 o'clock on Thursday. You're seeing this on Friday, of course, on Fox, and Sunday on Channel 12. Jim Langevin is endorsing Seth Magaziner. Literally, Danny's got to run out of here and cover the press conference on that. A bad break for Joy Fox, who thought perhaps her old boss might go her way.
Or just stay out completely,
Or stay out completely. A short take on that is what?
Yeah, I mean, look, Seth Magaziner you and I talked about this at the time when he announced. I've been, wrote a column that was pretty critical of him deciding to run. Since then, he's run about as good of a campaign as you can run. He's raised all the money that he needs to raise. He's consolidated support, getting every major endorsement. He's endorsed by the party, and now here's the other one. Jim Langevin endorses you. It's going to be really hard for any of those other Democrats to seriously compete.
And maybe
in this
some
race.
of them just kind of bail out and
That's
say,
right.
you know what, we've suspended our campaign. Who knows? All right, when we come back, the governor's race. A little tiny race. We'll be right back. Yeah, so the governor's race here, kind of hard for you and me to see this, but the undecided crowd is still larger than everybody. Yes. Which is interesting. And underneath, you see Nellie Gorbea, the Secretary of State, with a 4-point lead over Dan McKee, the incumbent governor. And Helena Foulkes, who had nothing at the beginning, has spent near $1 million to get to 16%. I think this is, in all objectivity, a classic toss-up at this point.
Very much so. I think you're right. And I think if we talk about this, remember, polls are snapshots in time. They're not predictions of outcomes going forward.
But the headlines that cover them certainly impact the race. Which is always the tricky part for the objective journalists, and that's a goal.
Yep.
Like you.
I think you're exactly right. And I think if you just think about what has changed between our poll and 5-6 weeks ago that Channel 12 polled. Helena Foulkes wasn't on air before. She went on air, spent $1 million, like you said. Okay, she shoots up. To your point, Nellie Gorbea, all the conversation after the Channel 12 poll, she's in fighting distance, she's statistical tie, she's got some momentum, so boom, gets a little bit of momentum. What's Governor McKee done? He's had to govern, right? He hasn't actually done much campaigning in the 5 or 6 weeks, so yes, he stays right around where he was. Not great, because he needs to find his path to 30-31%, but none of this is surprising given what has happened in the 5 weeks in between the polling.
I think the Gorbea campaign's got to feel good. I think the Foulkes campaign needs to be practical about what they've bought.
Yes.
And how much more is purchasable.
Right.
And the McKee campaign, and I say this with all due respect to my friend the governor, and I've been clear here and on the radio that he's a friend of mine and I'd like to see him win. you may want to put an ad up.
Yeah, it's got to go on TV.
But the governor's perspective on this has been, I'm going to govern through the budget.
Yep.
I'm going to govern through the budget, and I'm going to make sure that the playing field is identifiable till the end of June, when all the signing papers are done and all that kind of
That's
thing.
right, yep.
Then it's game on.
Yeah.
Look, if Helena can buy votes with ads and Nellie can buy votes with ads, so too can the governor buy
Right, there's
votes
only
with
so
ads.
much space on TV, so he'll get to buy his own, tell his own story. The other thing, keep in mind, now crosstabs are always, sketchy because you're talking about low numbers of voters. Dan McKee polls incredibly well among Black and Latino voters. That's a huge part of the Democratic primary. Everybody thinks that Dan McKee is this kind of Blackstone Valley guy. He polls really well in South Providence. He's going to do okay there.
He got the endorsement of the party by the hair of his chin. You had to get 50%. That is irrelevant to the average voter, but it always has a little bit of an
Just
impact.
means you have a star next to your name. It's important.
Just House Speaker and the Senate President endorse him, so at least it shows that there's some consensus in government leadership.
That's right.
It'll be interesting to see how this whole thing bears out. The one thing that I think is fascinating is if gender politics is real in America today, I think it's very real. Nellie and Helena split a female vote there.
Yeah, they have that real potential, and they all have their sort of their angles here. Now, Nellie Gorbea polls particularly well among women. She's leading among women in this race. Does Helena Foulkes manage to kind of sneak up and grab some more of that vote? Helena does well among the people we think she does well among, the elites, right? People who are wealthier, that kind of crowd. Is that enough? And one thing to remember, I said Dan McKee does really well among Black and Latino voters. Helena Foulkes barely registers among Black and Latino voters.
We only have 30 seconds here. Last some summertime. People need to know that when it comes to the governor's race, at least, there's a good chance. Ashley Kalus, the Republican, spending a lot of money. She'll make a run, but this Democratic primary is likely the enchilada.
Yeah,
likely.
I think that's right. I think you never know, but I would say that you are almost certainly going to pick your governor on September 13th.
Yeah. All right, kiddo. Thank you. Appreciate the
See you.
Globe's work on that. Final word when we come back. Stay with us. Remember, on this polling stuff, it is snapshot in time. What's going to be really fascinating, as I said to Bill, as I said to Dan, oh, goodness. Summertime is going to be a really interesting play for contests that are going to have a lot to do with the leadership of the state. So as you're going to the beach, you may want to read a news story or listen to the radio weekdays 3 to 6 on WPRI. We're off for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be back. See ya.